Hello everyone, today we're working on a 2013 Ram Cummins. We'll be installing an Amsoil BMK34 bypass filter system on the engine. And the oil we'll be using will be the Amsoil 5W40 diesel oil. It's a signature series, 5W40 chemically engineered synthetic. Most of the guys that I have using this with the bypass system will run in that 20 to 25,000 mile range intervals with drain intervals. So it extends that out significantly. The full flow filter we'll be using is the Amsoil EAO80, and that's a synthetic media filter, good for up to 25,000 miles. And the kit, filter kit, BMK34, it comes with bypass filter and EABP 90. It comes with the hose, and there's also a filter head for that filter, and this has the return fitting. This is where it returns back to the valve cover. It's an anodized aluminum with a swivel in it so that you can remove and put oil in without having to take the hose off. It's got a swivel built into it. And then there's fittings that come with it as well. Hose fittings, bolts, everything you'll need to mount that system up. Okay, the system's going to mount right down here, kind of right behind this light right here on the bumper. There's a cross member up here, and there's a mount for that cross member that we're going to use, and I have a bracket built for that, and we're going to use that bracket to mount up. There's a couple of standoffs that get it down below the bolt and assembly for that cross member mount, and I've also got a couple bolts. So if you're interested in my kit, this is what I've got. And then another thing we're going to be doing in this truck, I'm a dealer for gold plug magnetic plugs. And right here is the one for the engine. And I got a little bolt here, probably a 1 inch by about 8-9 inches long, pound and a half. And in your differentials, the only filter you have is the magnet. So the stronger that magnet is, the more metal it's going to pull out of the oil to protect your bearings. So you want the strongest magnet in there you can get a hold of, and this one here kind of dropped it. There we go. See if I can get it up without having to take it out of the package. There you go. So it's got a lot of strength to it, and this is the one for the differential, front and rear differential, and I've also got one for the transfer case as well. So there's actually 4 of them available, and again, I'm a dealer for those, so if you're interested, you can get those from me. So we're going to get started with this and show you where all this equipment goes. Okay, we're coming in here right ahead of that right front wheel, and right up here is that mount that I'm talking about. I'll put my finger on it right here, and there's a bolt coming through that mount right here. It's got a 16mm head on it, and there's one on the opposite side over there too, which I already took the nut off. And our standoffs are going to get attached to that, and then that main that angle iron bracket will get attached to the standoffs. So that gives us this area down here for the filter, and so we'll get started with that first and show you how that all mounts up. Okay, we're going to buzz down these bolts off of that mount, and they're 16mm. And I have extensions here to drop that down. And basically they're going to take the place of those nuts, and we're going to torque them down. And we're going to torque them to about 50 foot-pounds, 45 to 50, right in that range. And it's a 3/4 inch socket. Okay, and that gets us down below the head of that bolt. And the other thing that you're going to want to watch is right here, we're close to that washer. So if you can, put a flat up against that washer. I don't want any noise to transfer through, any vibration into the body. So if you have to, move it one way or the other. If you have to move it backward or loosen it, put on some Loctite so that it stays put where you need it. But I'd rather you go a little bit tighter if you can. But we don't want it touching that washer. Okay, we're going to put up the bracket here. Okay, and those are going to get torqued. Let's see what size they are. I bet those are 15. They are. Okay, so those are going to get torqued the same to 45 to 50 foot-pounds. I got to get a different size socket because those are smaller. I think those are 15 millimeter. So we'll get those torqued and we'll be back with you. Okay, we're going to take out the air filter so we have room to get to that filter head. And we'll take it right off the turbo out there. Get that out of the way because I can't reach the plug I need to take out down on top of the filter head without doing that. So we're going to pull this whole air filter system out of here and the tube going down to the turbo, and that'll give us the room we need. We've got the air filter all out of the way here, and we're going to use this plug right here. The back one you could use, but there's just too many obstacles in the way. And we're going to use a 45-degree elbow. That'll kind of get us up and out. A 90-degree elbow won't fit in here because you can't turn it. It'll hit this fitting right here. So we'll put that in, and when we're done, we'll have it on kind of an angle about like this, and come on up and out with the hose. So I'm going to tighten that up, and then we got another fitting that's going to go on the end of it, just like that. So we'll get that all tightened up and we'll be back with you. Okay, the tool we'll be using to cut the hose today is a YA1000A Blue Point. And what it does, it leaves a really nice end on the hose. A nice square cut end. Okay, the shell that goes over the end of the hose, a lot of times it's really hard to get started by hand. So what I've done is I use an impact, and I put it on remove, which is counterclockwise, and it's a 5/8 socket, and I get a good firm grip on the hose, and then put a little pressure on it, and it'll walk its way right on. And you can go till it bottoms out, just like that right there. Okay, and it's bottomed out inside, and we don't want it right up tight against that metal on the inside. So I'm going to back it off about a quarter to a half turn. About like that right there. Okay, now to put the insert in, I'm going to put some oil inside. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes on this end, but when you go to put this end in, you want to put a little bit of oil in there to help lubricate it. And then you have to push, and it'll get started on the threads. And once you get started on the threads, you can kind of feel it. And you can clamp it in the vise. And when you clamp it in the vise, and you go ahead and tighten it down until this hex right here comes into contact right here, then you're done. So that's some advice for putting the hose together. Okay, we got the filter head here, and I've got the angle figured out for where these fittings need to be pointing. And all these threads here, these real fine ones, are pipe thread, so they seal on the taper. They're a tapered thread. And what I use is pipe sealant with Teflon. It works real well. So you can see here the filter head right there's the out. It comes up out of the center. The oil coming in, the dirty oil comes in right here on the outside. You want to put this one on first, so you've got the swing room for it to put the other one in. And there's not really a torque spec on them. I just get them snug. You don't want to get too crazy because you can split the aluminum. Okay, and this one here I want pointing just about right over top of where it says out. And that'll give you the right angle for getting the hose put on. And And the other one, I'll show you where that's going to go here. The other one, we want just enough room that we can get the fitting right on beside that first one we put in. So, and you're going to want it pretty close to where you need to be, because you're not going to be able to get up there with a wrench to move it. And I'd rather have it out a little further than too close to this, because if it's out a little further, I can still put a crescent up here and kind of turn it, move it with the fitting once I got the fitting tight. So that's kind of the angles you're going to want when you go to put that up. Okay, so we'll take this under and we'll show you that next. Okay, I'm going to show you the hose routing here. This is what I did on top of that filter. There's a 45, and then we go to the straight fitting, then we go to the hose. And that's routed up here, kind of, I'll show you where that goes, up behind the alternator. And what I'm going to do is, right up here on the fan shroud, there's a hole right there. And I'm going to use a zip tie to put both of those right there to that hole. And have them fastened. Then we're going to go down right beside the fan shroud and run them right down beside that. And then I'll go to the bottom side. Okay, and on the bottom side, my light's going dead too. There we go. So here on the bottom side, right here's our filter mount, and I'm going to fasten them to this piece sticking out right here. If I can see if I can get things out of the way, so you can see it. Okay, this piece right here is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use a couple of clamps. I'm going to fasten it to that to keep it where I want it, so it ain't rubbing on anything. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is putting that filter head up and getting those hoses on. Okay, the hose going back to the valve cover is the out hose. That's the center of this filter housing. And we're going to tighten all this up right down here where it's easy to get at. And when you tighten these, get them good and snug. Okay. There's that one. This will be the dirty oil coming from the engine. I'm going to put that on. When I'm done, I want it laying right up against the other fitting. So I might have to rotate that just a little bit, this elbow. So have it nice and close, about right there. That'll get you where you need to be. So I'm going to finish tightening this up. Next thing we'll do is start putting the filter head up. Okay, another item I'm going to add in with my bracket kit is longer bolts for mounting it, because this filter head is aluminum, it's fairly thick, and I'm going through a fairly thick piece, and I don't have enough threads to get to the lock of the lock nuts that they're sending. So what we need is a longer bolt, and I'll be sending those. They'll be part of my kit with the fabricated brackets. So just wanted to make note of that. So we're going to get this filter head up, and I'll be back with you. Okay, I've got a 30-60 degree angle open end wrench here. This inside bolt, you're going to need that to get on, and what I do is go above the filter, and then I can sneak it on right on top there, and I use a ratchet wrench on the other side. The other two bolts are pretty straightforward, but that inside one, you're going to need that wrench to get on it to tighten it. So that's just a word to the wise, and you can see that 60 degree end is perfect for getting up in there. Okay, I've got two clamps. I'm going to make use of this tab right here. It's got the big hole in the center. I'm going to use that hole, and I got two clamps I'm putting on those lines to help stabilize them. And I've also got two washers, two big fender washers. One's going to go on the bottom side of that tab, one's going to go on the top side. So I'm going to get the bolts through, get this all ready to go together. Clamps want to fight me a little bit. Come on. There it goes. Okay, and then we'll set that washer right on top of that bolt. Then we'll push it on up through that hole. Then on the top side we'll put the other washer, and I got a nut. And it's really tough. I might have to use an impact on the bottom to screw the bolt through those clamps, because doesn't want to come up, so I can get some threads on it. There, I got it. Okay. Then from there I can figure out where I want my hoses exactly. But that gives you some idea how we're going to use that to clamp those lines. Okay. Right over here is our supply line on top of that filter. I just want to go through the hose routing. And then that comes up. Again, we got a 45 on there. And then it goes to the straight fitting into the hose. And I've got it swung over pretty close to that other fitting right there. It's almost touching that. And then I bring it up. And right here we got a zip tie to tie those two lines together. Right there is the return back to the valve cover. Okay, and let me zoom out here a little bit. There we go. Then we come down, and right down here is transmission cooler line. And what I did is there's a large zip tie, heavy duty zip tie, and I've got it zip tied to that. See if I can get another angle on it, get some light in there. But it's running right along that fan shroud, both lines. And then we come down, and I'm making use of that tab down there, and you can see that right there where I got that 3/8 bolt and the two lines. So, and then also right over here we've got the air-to-air aftercooler, and got a coolant line, and we try to route that so that those hoses are not touching either line. So that's kind of showing you the routing of how we did that with the air filter out. Okay, to go to tighten this up, you got to have almost 3 hands to do it, which is what I have, so that the hose doesn't start twisting on you as you tighten it. So you want to back up here so you don't damage this or the valve cover. Alright, here we go. So just make sure you have 3 wrenches on, one here, and one here, so everything stays straight. Okay, this kit comes with an EABP90, which is the shortest of the bypass filters. So if we screw that on there, I'm going to show you how that all fits in there nice. So that gives you some idea. You're about even with the bottom of the metal on the bumper. And then here's this plastic shroud underneath that bumper. And then if you wanted to go with a little longer filter, the EABP100 is about probably another 1.5 inches or so longer. It gives you a little bit more filter media, a little bit more oil capacity. And I'll screw that on there. You can kind of see what that looks like. So right there is what you got. It's going to drop it down a little bit more. If you hit something, come up here and hit it. You know, that's the only thing. And there's one longer yet that would probably come down. Probably about another 1.5 inches. It's about 10 inches long. It's a EABP 110. But that's getting down here where if you happen to, you know, hit something, you're going to be busting the filter head or something like that. But just show you the options of what you can do there with the bypass filters. Okay, we're taking samples. We're going to take it right here from this return line. The reason for that is it's so tight down there around that filter that you can't get your hands down there. And you're going to want to do this with your air conditioner off, because otherwise the fan's going to blow it all over the place. Right now the fan just kicked in. Okay, we're done with this install, and this system added about 3 quarts to it. It was 12 quarts before, and I got 15 total of 15 quarts in it, and it's right at the full level. So that gives you some idea. You're going to want to have an extra 3 quarts. So I want to thank you for watching my video, and have a great day.
Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/c/Donsoil. I'd like to introduce you to Amsoil Synthetic Lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetic lubricants on the market that offer you greatly reduced wear, extended drain intervals, longer equipment life. You can check that out at my website, donsoil.com. I also have a website for looking up fluid capacities. It's fluidcapacity.com. You can go there and print off the capacity of your engine oil, cooling system, transmission, transfer case, differentials. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Don Synthetic Lubes. Thank you and have a great day.